YouTube, welcome back. Hope y'all are ready. We're going deep today, y'all. I'm ready. I did another take of this episode and posted it up pretty quickly last night. Um, but I've got some feedback on that. That the way I presented it could have been misconstrued as, trying to be vindictive or had some type of negative intentions with it, which is not my intention. I do need to go over, I don't say it in all my videos, you guys, but the intention of this channel, this is a tool for me of self-discovery, and the intentions with this channel are to give an accurate representation of who I am now and kind of some of the things that have led me to make the decisions that I've made in my life and where I want to go in the future. And I think that sharing this, what this video is going to be about is one way that I can do that. And I hope that people can benefit from it in some way. Maybe somebody's going through some similar things and they're not really sure how they can deal with it. And maybe they can take something from me that they use in a positive way. But in the other take of this video, I talked about a relationship that was really important to me. This relationship means a lot to me still. So I'll talk about that relationship a little bit, and I'll talk about how I'm dealing with it. So this person and I, we weren't together for a very long time, but we developed a very strong connection. This person made me feel a way that I've never felt before in my life. Everything I was experiencing was brand new. And I think those feelings, I had to have a sense of her feeling that same way in order to be able to feel the way I felt. But the types of things we did together included, we probably cooked 30 plus meals together in that amount of time. We read a book out loud to each other. When my parents were in town, she offered to, have a meal together with the four of us. So we did that. Some other things included, she invited me to her father's house on Father's Day. So I'm saying all that just to say that there was nothing casual about this relationship. Okay, it was a very strong connection. So I'll talk about our last week. She reached out to me in a text message earlier in the week and said she asked me how I felt about a certain situation. So we decided to meet and talk about it. The situation was she was wondering how I felt about her having a month-to-month meeting with her son's dad to give her son a sense of unity. So we had a conversation a couple days later. She came over and we had a very intense emotional conversation. We cried together. We told each other that we love each other a few times. And, I explained to her my viewpoint on that. And she also mentioned that she thought that I was going to break up with her. And I just couldn't believe that this was even a thought. The way that everything had been was near perfect. Things were great. I've never been in a relationship like that, and I'm 36 years old. This was all new to me, okay? So later on in the week, after we had that conversation, that conversation when we talked about it was the last time we actually spoke to each other. It was the last time we saw each other. Everything from there on out was text messaging and a couple notes. So I was reaching out to her later on in the weekend through text and wasn't getting very much. It felt like she wasn't responsive for the first time. Normally she was right there. Maybe occasionally her son had the phone for 20 minutes, but this was a whole, morning and afternoon that I didn't hear from her. So I began to question it. And that's when she decided to just go ahead and say, return my key and I'll return your garage door opener, and don't ever contact me again. So I was very confused by this. She said something in those texts of that last weekend about she wishes we could have had a conversation about this, and but then she wouldn't answer her phone. A lot of it was very confusing to me, and I think y'all can understand that. But I do need to explain a little bit of her background. She was involved in a violent split with her son's dad. Um, the same person that she was intending on meeting month to month to give her son a sense of unity. Um, so I think she was still dealing with this in a number of ways, and that had happened less than 2 years previous to our coming together. Um, so um, basically, I was floored. I didn't understand anything. I was confused. She was sending me a lot of mixed messages. I wish we could have a conversation, but not answering her phone. Um, you know, it was very confusing. I think it might have been confusing to her too. Um, so we she returned my garage door opener in the mailbox, and um, I said some negative things to her, and things to kind of saying, you're just like every other girl. You leave whenever the peaches dry up, or it seems like work. Um, but um, a couple weeks went by, and I left her a card in her mailbox. It was basically a cute cat card. We both have cats, so it was just, I'm here for you. Just saying, it was like open it 4 times, like I'm still here for you. It was cute. I liked it. But she did not, and she reached out to the only person that we both know, um, and she told this person to tell me to leave her alone, and that I was pestering her. However, in that same afternoon, I get a text message from this love interest of mine, saying, "Do you have something you want to say to me? And let's arrange a time to meet up." So I responded and I said, "How does 2 weeks from today sound?" Or and I never heard anything back. That was the last text she sent me. It was just completely out of the blue. A couple weeks after she told me to leave her alone, she texted me, "Let's arrange to meet up." And then I never heard from her. I think maybe she had my number blocked or whatever. It just was strange. Everything was confusing. So I had a hard time dealing with this. And shortly thereafter is when I came to the conclusion that that is my desire to understand people, and this is one of the things that led me to take that direction that I'm taking now with this, with the school and with this channel. Um, but in her last note to me after she got back from her little vacation that weekend, I left her alone while she was on her vacation, and she wrote me a note. She said, "I'm too drunk to drop it off now, but just have some patience." So this note said things like, perhaps our paths cross in the future. It said, the connection we had was undeniable. But it also said that she intended it to be a casual thing. And this was completely, confusing to me, because nothing about our relationship was casual. Um, so in this note, she also, she said that she had uncovered some things about herself, um, that and she said that if she knew that her healing would affect me so deeply, that she wouldn't have never started with me. So I don't know if everything was a farce. I don't know anything. So I've kind of been composing this letter to her, um, that kind of helps me come to terms with what might have been going on. Um, and I don't intend on giving this note to her, unless she reaches out in my direction first. But it kind of just lays out a few of the feelings that theories that I've come to have to take as truth. So I'm going to read some of this note to y'all, and that'll explain to y'all a little bit about where I am now, and this is one of the things that has caused me to take the action in my life that I've taken. Um, so in this letter, I basically just tell her how I feel, and I tell her what I think might have happened. But I'm going to get to the bulk of this letter and not read everything. This is a tool for me to understand what's going on in myself, and I think this will be valuable to have to look at in the future. And hopefully, maybe somebody else might be able to benefit from being in the same situation. Um, I mentioned some theories. I told her that it's now been the same amount of time that we've been apart as we were together, and the sand has fallen back to the, it was a very eloquent note. But I say, what I'm coming to understand is all guesswork, and a real conversation with you for clarity would mean more than gold to me. But I do not expect that conversation from you or count on you doing anything that you might not deem valuable for yourself. My first theory is that you might not believe that you have the room in your life for a relationship like we were beginning to have. This could be the whole story, but I believe there to be a deeper reasoning behind the events of this year. I think it's possible that you are not ready yet to be vulnerable, and that you might not feel ready to acknowledge that to me, or perhaps anyone, maybe even yourself. I am also beginning to understand that you believe a serious relationship to be low on your priority list. It seems to me, however, with the words you spoke and the actions you took during our time together, that you actually do want all of what is included in a strong, healthy, loving, and committed relationship. But when it starts to feel like work, you choose to slam the door closed on all of the things that could become of this type of work or effort. Once the emotions involved with honesty, communication, and commitment were starting to appear again in your life, this triggered a fear response stemming from your traumatic past, and you chose not to pursue something that had the potential to bring you these negative aspects that you associate with these positive feelings. I hope your healing is going the way that you need it to, and that you are beginning to understand that learning to be vulnerable in a healthy way can make room for much fulfillment in life that would be otherwise impossible. So that was the basic gist of it. There's some more things in here. I say, how will I ever know if someone's words and actions towards me are true and valid unless I give them the opportunity to prove them as such? And I mentioned again that all of this is speculation, and I tell her that I've left a room in my understanding for being false about maybe what's going on, because I don't know. The last conversation, y'all, that we had, again, the last conversation we had was, I love you and I understand you, and we, oh man, we wiped each other's tears that day, and that was the last time I actually spoke to her. And it was, I love you. So the way that she acted after this just completely floored me. It devastated me, like I said. But I tell her, that I have other theories, but they're not productive in displaying my feelings for you as this letter intended. And I say that these theories may have to be truth for me for this foreseeable future, as I do not intend this letter on finding you unless you reach out in my direction first. And I'm content in considering that to be a possible outcome. But I tell her that, okay, I'll read this part. My feelings of love towards you have not changed. I have learned a lot about you and some about myself also. I know that nothing that happened or that was said, and nothing that could be done or said to me in the future, can change the way I choose to feel about you. I learned that I am in charge of how I respond to what happens to me. Earlier in the note, I do mention that, it's all up to us how we decide to react to a certain situation, and it's hard to do sometimes to change our perception on past events. And I kind of trying to be a confidant in that kind of a way. But I tell her that searching my soul through various means has revealed to me that understanding and accepting my own heart's desire is far much more valuable to me than always agreeing with the people that are in my life. I confirmed for myself that going against the common culture and going against most advice from people I have spoken with about you is where I have found peace. I don't know if I'll ever speak with you or see you again, but I know that nothing you do or say will ever turn me away from having that desire to continue to pursue our undeniable connection, which is a quote from her note to me. But I tell her, I also quote the part of her note that says, perhaps our paths cross in the future. And I explained to her that would be okay, that if our paths cross, and I also say, how much greater would it be if our paths came together and were the same? But I'll read this part that I thought was pretty good. I say, I do not count on that, however. When talking about our paths becoming the same, I said, I do not count on that, however, and you need to know that I intend on becoming my ideal self, with or without you playing a physical role in the direction that I have chosen to go. The door that you have opened to my heart will never close. In fact, it has been completely removed. The threshold has been inlaid with gold, and it leads to my path of contentment and is the route I will take in becoming the man I believe I can be. I am willing and able to walk this path without you. So I basically summarize it up in the next paragraph and say, thanks pretty much end it the same way she ended her note to me. Um, so there's some other stuff in that, but I think I hit on kind of the main idea of what I wanted to hit, y'all. Um, you know, basically telling her and myself that I'm just gonna have to take what happened as and the theories of what happened that I hold. I'm gonna have to take them as truth, y'all. And looking back, I know that this impacted me in a very strong way. But I made it positive. I took direction from it. I kind of harnessed all of that emotion and put it in a direction that I felt would be profitable to the world, to myself, and to the world around me. Um, I intend on, becoming a great person. And I believe I'm a great person now, but that I can always improve myself. And I believe that there's always room for improvement. There's always going to be a next step. But as long as you're following your heart and you live out of love and you don't live out of fear, then you know you're doing it right. And that's where I stand, y'all. I hope that this means something to some of y'all, and I really hope y'all love each other. Y'all, please be good to each other. Get out there and smile, lift your mask up. I love y'all, and we will see you in the future.